everyone, it's the Vigilante. So I'm going to be reviewing the Mickey 17. Well, technically I'm going to be reacting to another person talking about Mickey 17, because I think me and him have the same idea. Let me tell you what, this movie, it was awful. I did not like it. Me and my wife ended up leaving halfway through the movie. That's how boring this movie was. Okay, it was not even funny. You would have thought it was supposed to be funny. None of the jokes landed. I think I might have tickled once. Did a little laugh one time. Okay, and it was just because it was stupid. That's why I was laughing, because of how stupid it is. This movie isn't even where it's so stupid that that's the point is funny. No, this movie, it made no sense. So let's get into it.
Okay, check out this pitch, right? It's a sci-fi movie set in the future where we can clone people and copy their memories to bring them back to life if they die. But then the main character gets cloned while he's still alive, so now there's like 2 of him. Wait, didn't they already do that in The Sixth Day? Nah, it'll be fine. And it's gonna cover all the stuff that we pretend to care about here in Hollywood, like the environment, and colonization, and the Orange Man, and Big Pharma, and powerful corporations exploiting the working classes for profit. And we'll get that guy who did Parasite to write and direct it, because he's good at that smart satirical stuff. I don't know, man, our audience is pretty stupid. They might not get what we're trying to say with this film. Don't worry, it's okay, we'll just make it dumb as fuck and hammer home the messaging with as much subtlety as a dump truck full of retarded sledgehammers. And we'll get that Ruffalo guy in to play the villain like he's acting in a middle school pantomime. That's sure to work. Are you really sure this is a good idea, sir? It sounds like we're wasting a lot of good potential just to make the same political points we've been repeating for the past 10 years now, and people are getting pretty sick of. Wouldn't it be better to just make an actual smart sci-fi movie that gets people thinking instead? You're fired. Oh dear, never have I seen such an assemblage of talent and potential squandered quite so impressively as Mickey 17.
Oh, I completely agree. See, the thing was, the cast, I don't even think they did a good job of what they were given, because I don't even think they knew what they were supposed to be doing. Honestly, I think that I would be very surprised if someone actually wrote this. I think the writing was done by AI. I truly do. And I know there's a lot of people that are afraid of the AI thing. I don't mind a little AI here and there, but I honestly think that this whole script was written by AI. There is no way that someone actually wrote this script and said, oh, this is a good idea. No, this movie was terrible. And I still don't understand the meaning. And then with a really good cast, like you had Robert Pattinson, Naomi Ackie, Stephen Young, and Mark Ruffalo. I mean, you would have thought this would have been a no-brainer. This would have been a decent movie, but no, it was terrible. They all did a terrible job. The best one was definitely Robert Pattinson, but I mean, it was so stupid that even he couldn't do that good of a job, because I don't even think he knew what he was supposed to be doing.
A movie whose trailer promised a black sci-fi comedy wrapped up in a biting satire of modern culture, made by a director with a mostly good track record, and boasting a mostly talented cast who can deliver when it counts. What we got instead was all of the worst excesses of modern Hollywood wrapped up in one particularly messy package. A bloated and incoherent narrative that tries to juggle way too many characters and subplots, takes forever to get going, and doesn't do anything particularly interesting once it does. Characters whose decisions and thought processes only make sense if you assume that most of them are functionally retarded. Satire that isn't smart, jokes that aren't funny, heartfelt moments that never land because everything around them is so completely ridiculous, and performances that verge on the absurd. Anyway, allow me to describe whatever passes for a plot so we can get this review over with.
Exactly, just like I said. Even though I still don't think this, like, well, he sat there and said that the cast could barely act. Honestly, I think the cast is actually a good cast. The cast can act. They've done a lot of good movies. The problem was, they just didn't know what they were supposed to be doing. I honestly think that no one thought. I don't think that the director knew what they were doing. I don't think anybody thought what this movie was supposed to be.
In the mid-21st century, with Earth increasingly polluted, humanity is spreading out to colonize nearby star systems, including the icy planet of Niflheim. The expedition is led by Kenneth Marshall, a rich Christian televangelist and failed politician who spouts absolute nonsense in his speeches, has almost no understanding of the ship or the mission, and whose fanatical supporters wear red caps to identify themselves. Are you getting it yet? Anyway, because it's a dangerous mission, the ship needs a crew member who's quite literally expendable. A guy who can get killed again and again and have his consciousness downloaded into a new body each time. Enter Mickey, our main man, who signs up for the mission to escape a loan shark after a failed business venture on Earth. Don't worry though, if you're worried about that backstory being relevant to the main plot in any way, it's not. It does eat up a shitload of screen time though, which is pretty cool, I guess. Anyway, after 16 other versions of him get killed in a variety of horrible ways, Mickey 17 is out on a mission to capture one of the aliens who inhabit the planet when he's captured instead and presumed killed. He isn't though, and when he does return to the ship, he finds another version of himself has already been printed off. Now this presents quite the problem, because 2 versions of the same person are strictly prohibited, so they eventually agree to keep their situation hidden from everyone else. That is, until Mickey 17 almost dies at a private dinner with Marshall, prompting Mickey 18 to try to assassinate the guy, which causes all kinds of wacky shenanigans and almost provokes a full-scale war with the planet's indigenous life forms. Now, if I had to pin down the biggest problem with Mickey 17, I'd say that it just can't stay focused long enough to get anything done.
I mean, it doesn't. The plot keeps jumping around. And just like he said, it has no, like, the whole loan shark thing has no relevancy whatsoever. And it's like they both, him and one thing he doesn't go into is him and one of his friends the reason why that they're escaping a loan shark is because they signed up for this damn business that went under. So they both owe money back to them. So they both signed up for this. But for some reason, his friend was able to get a good job as a pilot, but he was stuck. Only option was to become an expendable. And they used him over and over again to find cures for diseases and everything. And I mean, he does play an important role, but I mean, sometimes they were just cruel and mean to the guy. It was ridiculous. This is literally like everything that some people hate about bullying. It has bullying, it has climate change, it has sex liberation in it, and I mean, it is literally just all jumbled into one big mess.
Like, the first 30 minutes of the film are basically just a preamble to the actual story, and probably could have been condensed down into a fraction of that time. There's all kinds of subplots about loan sharks and gangsters who for some reason are willing to travel halfway across the galaxy just to recoup a small business loan, broken friendships and betrayals, love triangles and relationship dynamics that go absolutely nowhere, and it's all just an annoying distraction that eats up precious screen time. And the finale is an absolute clusterfuck of disjointed events and nonsensical decisions that kills even the vaguest idea that anything's at stake. And what's kind of annoying is that there's a decent enough premise buried beneath it all. The idea of a person repeatedly dying and being reborn has been tackled many times in many different movies, and there's definitely ways to keep it interesting and entertaining, but Mickey 17 loses its momentum all too quickly. I mean, it is kind of fun watching Mickey get sacrificed in a bunch of gory ways only to get spat out of a 3D printer the next day, in the same way that it's funny to watch someone walk into a plate glass door, but it eventually loses its appeal after you've seen the same gag like 5 or 6 times and you realise they're not going to do anything more imaginative with it. Likewise, there's fertile philosophical ground to cover about the nature of consciousness, identity, and even the immortal soul, especially when Mickey gets cloned while still alive, but the film's got zero interest in exploring anything deeper like that. It's
okay. Critical Drinker, you're being way too generous. What momentum? There was absolutely no momentum in this movie. This movie was boring from start till halfway through. Me and my wife literally sat there for like almost an hour. We watched it halfway through and we said, no, this movie it's just boring. It's awful. I'm not going to sit through it anymore. So we got up and left because this movie's over 2 hours long. Yeah, I'm not going to sit there and watch a 2 hour long boring movie like that. And the only reason why I went and saw it was because the reviews were actually giving it a decent review. A lot of people were giving it 7 out of 10, so I'm like, okay, maybe it's worth a go. What? No. This movie is a 4 out of 10 at best. This movie is just horrible.
Basic surface level comedy that doesn't go much further than, isn't it funny to watch 2 Robert Pattinsons arguing with each other? Well, no it isn't. I mean, credit where credit's due, Pattinson is without a doubt the best thing in this movie, and you can tell that he's doing his best to elevate some pretty mediocre material. I guess he must have watched a lot of Rick and Morty before shooting Mickey 17 though, because his, geez, I don't know about this delivery is straight up impersonation of Justin Roiland's. Toni Collette is another talented actor who's completely wasted in this film. Her character has got no particular reason for being in the movie, and she delivers one of the most hammy, over-the-top performances of her entire career. Then there's Mark Ruffalo. Fuck. Jesus, every time I see that guy's fat, rubbery face show up in a movie now, my heart sinks because I know I'm gonna have to suffer through the same lazy, phoned-in performance he's been doing in basically everything recently. His character Marshall is just Donald Trump crossed with one of those cheesy televangelist con men you see on late-night TV, and holy crap, does Ruffalo go all in on this one. You know the kind of lazy, exaggerated Trump impersonation you see on Saturday Night Live, which the average person on the street could probably improve on? Well, dial that level of laziness up to 11, and you come somewhere close to Ruffalo's level of on-the-nose performance in this movie.
Oh yeah, Ruffalo's performance was definitely the worst part of this whole movie. And he is completely correct. It was lazy. I mean, it wasn't even good impersonations of Trump. It was that horrible of a movie, or he did that horrible of a job of performing him. At first, I didn't even realize he was trying to. Like, I caught on a little bit, but I mean, it was just like, I think anybody could have done that. You could have taken a person who wasn't even an actor and could have made a better impersonation of that crap.
It's the literal personification of Hollywood cringe. It feels so dated and ham-fisted in 2025, and it's so desperate to get as many jabs in as possible that it practically trips over itself and ruins its own premise. Also, I can't shake the impression that when they made this movie, they probably thought the US election was going to turn out very differently. Now, just to be clear on this one, I'm firmly of the belief that guys like Trump deserve to be mocked just as much as any other public figure, but if you're going to do it, at least put some goddamn effort into it. This is the kind of shit you'd see on free entry open mic night at a not particularly good comedy club. Satire is supposed to be smart and subtle enough that it functions on its own merits, presenting absurd concepts and individuals in a format that's almost believable, but this kind of shit isn't satire, it's just straight up parody, and not particularly funny parody at that. Ultimately, Mickey 17 is a decent concept lost in the churning sludge of Hollywood politics and insecurities, a film that fails to make good on any of its promises, that isn't funny enough to be a comedy, smart enough to be a satire, imaginative enough to be a good sci-fi movie, or even exciting enough to be an action flick. It's a failure in every way, and if you want my advice, you'll save like 2.5 hours of your life and go watch something more enjoyable, like paint drying. Anyway, that's all I've got for today. Go away now.
Yep, for the most part, 90% of what he said, I sit there and agree with. The only thing I did not agree with him on is the whole momentum part. There was no momentum. Okay, Critical Drinker, if you think that there was any momentum for this movie, then you got a screw loose or something in your damn head. There was no momentum whatsoever. This movie was boring all the way through. I didn't even watch it all the way through. But but to gain momentum, that means it has to be good in the beginning for the momentum. So there was nothing good for the first half. Absolutely nothing. Well, that's it for my reaction. Let me know down in the comments if you agree with me or not. Please like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, stay vigilant.